This was one of the purchases I just couldn't make my mind up on. Was it stick or was it twist? Welcome back everybody, I'm Andy and thanks for joining me on the channel today. Now many moons ago, tried RC plane flying with my dad, and it was a hobby that I enjoyed, but I wanted something a bit more competitive, and we decided to give racing a go. 20 years later, I'm back. This is possibly the hardest decision that I've had to make. Now, since I had a background in flying planes and racing previously, I'd always felt more comfortable with a twin stick transmitter. So I feel like I'm going to be most comfortable having something in both hands. Now, in my past life, I've not had great experiences with pistol grips. Now, what I have noticed is that wheel is still the king of transmitters, and there's very few stick offerings on the market. And you know what? Those stick offerings, they ain't cheap. Now, there are certain features which you don't get on entry-level transmitters, things like dual rates and endpoint adjustments. And what I didn't want to do was buy one of these cheaper transmitters and then have to upgrade. So I spend around about £100 on a pistol grip transmitter that does have these features and not get on with it. It was a really hard decision to make, but in the end, I ended up purchasing this. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a bit more pricey than your entry-level handset, but I'm hoping that in the long run, this will be the right decision. Let's open it up and see what's inside. So as we open this up, we've got our bedtime reading there. You can see that we've got our receiver, which is 4-channel. It's a Futaba R304SB. Now, for those people who are weight conscious, shall we say, this receiver weighs in at just 7 grams. So the main reason that we're all here, Futaba 4GRS transmitter. Now, taking it out of the wrap and the box, feels quite lightweight. One of the reasons why I didn't get on with that pistol grip transmitter back in the day was the weight. Felt far too heavy in my hand, felt really uncomfortable to race with. So this, going back to something that I'm familiar with, is really nice to have in the hands. Now, even though this is really light, you can feel the build quality. The switches, the dials, the trim buttons, everything feels like it's really well made. And obviously it's Futaba, it's a long-standing brand. Now, if we go to the back of the transmitter and take off the battery hatch, there is a cradle in there for AA batteries. Now, I think that's all that I'm going to use. And in the future, we might have a little upgrade. We might go to a life battery. But for now, that's what's going to get me on the track and racing. One of the things that I do love though about these modern transmitters, back in the day, you had these massive antennas that you had to pull out of the top. And when you're on the rostrum and getting a bit excited, you had to be careful you didn't take anybody's eye out. So now the antenna is just a case of flicking it up like that. But obviously you guys know that. You've been doing this for a lot longer than I have. But for me, that's great. Turning the transmitter on, you can see how clear the backlight is and how clear the display is. And I can't see there being any problems whatsoever in the sunlight or indoors under lights. And if you do have any visibility issues, the contrast is fully adjustable. One thing that I do like is that the on-off button has on, off, and it also has a display feature. So basically you can make any adjustments to the transmitter without actually having a signal being sent out. Now, as you'd expect with most modern transmitters, this is fully adjustable. You can adjust the height of the sticks. You've got long fingers, short fingers, wide fingers. There'll be a setting that you'll feel comfortable with. There's also dials and switches all over the place. You've got our digital trims for our channels, but also you've got a 3-point switch. We've got a dial on this side. We've got like a trigger switch on this side here. All 4 different settings that we can implement with this transmitter. Now, one of the other features that this transmitter has is that it's a telemetry transmitter. You can put sensors within our vehicles and have that information displayed on our transmitter in real time. Things like battery voltage, motor temperatures. It's not something that I look to use, but are they useful? If you guys do this, let me know in the comments. Now, one of the main reasons I opted for this was the model memory that was available. As we grow, we might decide that we want to venture down other avenues, different classes of racing, or have more than one model. Now, there's a number of menus, so any changes that you want to make are all made possible with this little keypad. So now we're pretty much ready to go. All we need to do is bind the transmitter to the receiver. To do this, all you need to do is the following. So to bind our transmitter with our receiver, the first thing we're going to do is pop the transmitter into display mode. Using the keypad, we're going to move down to RX mode, push in the keypad. Check that we've got the right type of receiver selected, in this case we have, and then we go down to link and execute. And to execute this, we're going to push and hold in the keypad. Now we'll get 20 seconds then to link the receiver. So make sure your battery's plugged in and ready to go and you've just got the car switched off. I'm going to push and hold to execute, and you can see our countdown has begun. I'm going to turn the car on, and you can see that the receiver's got a red light on it. There's a little button there, and using my tool, I'm just going to push and hold. And the light started to flash. If we go back, we can see that our link is complete. Now we can turn our vehicle off, turn our transmitter off, and then what you might want to do is turn your transmitter into full on mode. Make sure your wheels are moving in the correct direction, and make sure your throttle is also moving in the correct direction. Guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and if you want to be notified every time I drop a video, click that notification bell. What I'd really like to do is start building a community of like-minded people that's going to help this hobby grow. Let me know if you're team stick or you're team twist. So now that you've seen the transmitter that I'm going to use, why don't you check out these videos, and I'll see you over there.